I think that it's super important for people to tell their stories, and brain research supports the fact that telling our stories does two things for us. It helps us to make sense of the world around us, so we're looking for coherence. And then the second thing that it does is helps us to connect to other people. So there's an internal and an external power to it. I was born in the United States, but I began moving at 6 months. I spent 3 years in Kenya, and I walked through transition at a time when my father and others were studying transition and this odd group of people called third culture kids. So I entered into that part of my story when people were trying to figure out who we were and if there were commonalities that gave us a common culture. Although I really did dig in and put roots down in Vermont, where we moved back to. I made my strongest connection to a military brat who'd grown up in Texas and Turkey, and 2 sisters who'd grown up in Brazil. And although our stories were so different, we just connected, we just clicked. There was something about our experiences that held in common. And then the research began to come up and demonstrate that that was actually true. As a TCK, you're not crazy. The things that you go through, it's not insanity. They're normal processes that are challenging, and that's okay. And you actually need and you deserve care. You have a great community and tribe. Recent surveys show that there are about 4 million kids in just the English-speaking international schools. Ted Ward said that TCKs are the prototype citizen of the future. We are the future now. It's happened. I wanted to be an educator, working with populations that were mobile, watching those young adults go through transition back to their passport countries and finding that there weren't very many supports for those kids. There were a lot of TCKs who fell through the cracks. High mobility people, there's a vulnerability in that. If someone meets a difficulty or even a trauma in that time, it can be more impactful because then they keep moving and they carry it with them. We first wanted to join a group that was doing something like that, and then not finding that really strongly, we created one. We revise and retell our own story in ourselves and in our families and in the groups that we belong to. We learn about other people by asking them, what's your story? Having some tools with which to think about our story, and then space and time to practice. I like to do those things. I like to create the spaces and provide the tools and let people put them together. I want to make a difference in that way. I started with FIGT because Ruth Van Rieken said so. The second conference I was able to present with Ruth, and so I couldn't say no to that one. And it was after that they said, would you be interested in joining the board? It's been great to work with the scholars and to bring folks on board to open up some new worlds of relationships.